John, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're talking about student debt and student loan repayments. We know this is going to be happening again. Man, has this really been a back and forth deadline we've been talking about? And now it's really going to happen, we think.
That's right. It's been a ping pong match between we're going to take care of you and come save your life, all the way back to nobody's coming to get you. And here's the thing. All of us have to sit in this for a second. Everybody's got all these tips and ideas. We all need to just stop for a quick second. We have to choose reality. We have to sit in this moment and realize nobody's coming to get us. We're going to have to pay these things back. And we're going to have to figure out a plan for moving forward.
How do you think we accept that reality? I mean, that is a tough thing for so many months and almost years. It's been this back and forth and back and forth. How do we really kind of accept that, move forward, and start to make those payments?
I think the first thing is owning it, right? It's like when the divorce is final, or it's when you get that diagnosis with your kid. This is a scary, hard thing, and you have to sit in it for a second. Sometimes you have to get some other people to sit with you and just own it. For 3 years, we've been told everything was going to be okay. And so people bought homes, they bought cars, they did all sorts of they made all sorts of financial decisions based on these loans going away, and they're not going away. And so there's something about sitting in it, owning it. Sometimes you got to write down, here's what I've done, here's the situation I'm in, and then you got to be about making the plan for what comes next.
Now that we've accepted that reality, it is happening. We know that date is coming up this fall. How can we pay it off? What do you think is the best advice for really starting to do this?
Part of this owning reality or choosing reality is knowing that money works in only two ways. You can make more of it or you can spend less of it. And I wish there was a third way. I wish there was just like the money fairy. And that's been happening for the last 3 years, right? Checks would just end up in our checking accounts or in our mailboxes. Those are over. And so we have to look at, this is a word that everybody hates, but it's a word that gives us freedom. We have to look at a budget. We have to decide to own how much money we make. How much do we have to get another job? Do we have to get 2 more jobs for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years to pay these things off? And we have to look at how much we're spending. And some of us, we have no more margin. We have no more margin. And what that means is it's not just about cutting out lattes and a trip to Starbucks and avocado toast. It may mean that we have to sit down and say, hey, we wanted to live in this city and we wanted to have this job. We got to move back home for a year. We're going to have to get 2 roommates, and we're going to have to live differently. We're going to have to sell our condo, and we're going to have to rent for a season. And we have to rent in a different town because rents are bananas where we live. This is about a wholesale reimagining how we live, and we're going to do that. We're going to start that process with a budget. How much money do we make, and how much money does it take for us to live wherever it is we are?
I love that you broke it down so simply there. Either we need to make more or spend less. We have to commit to one or the other. And we're at this point in life where we hear so much about people following their passions or doing what they really love. Sometimes that doesn't always equal maybe the highest paycheck. Do you think now is the time to follow your passion, or should we really commit to maybe making the most money we can?
I cannot think of worse advice to give any human being than follow your passion. Because passion doesn't always pay the bills, and passion doesn't always give us the life that we want, right? And so I think if you follow the science of passion, we are really passionate about what we're good at. And we're good at what we do often and what we have great coaching and mentorship. And often what we're good at is things that we were made to practice, or things that we had to start at the beginning. So you may get to following your passion. I didn't know my passion was sitting with people who were hurting until I walked alongside a bunch of coaches, and I started as a teacher and then moved into a higher education dean of students. I didn't realize that my passion would ultimately be this until I had years of hard work, good coaching and mentorship, and a lot of just putting in the grinding work to pay the bills. And so right now, absolutely, it may be the season that you stop, quote unquote, following your passion, and you find a job that will pay your bills so you can pay off these debts. And when you owe nobody anything, When you've created some boundaries and your mother-in-law isn't telling you what you're going to do for Thanksgiving and Christmas anymore, and you've created some boundaries and your friends aren't telling you how you're going to spend your money or what you're doing with your time, and you don't owe anybody any money, nobody, then you can do whatever it is that you want. Then you can take that pay cut and follow your passion. You can move across the country and live with 3 people in a 1-bedroom apartment to follow that dream. Then you can do that. But if you owe people money, you're gonna have to work and pay those bills.
And let's talk about some of those boundaries. You were suggesting a calendar may really be the simple thing that you need, just by having a calendar to help you achieve some of those debts that you owe and pay some of that off and really make some forward progress. Why do you think a calendar could be key to this?
We live highly unintentional lives, right? Even I do this for a living, and this morning I was up here at 6 a.m. for a work thing, and then I went to a breakfast, and then I came back for some media, and then I've got work, and then after work I've got this, and I got to pick up my son, and then my daughter's doing this thing, and suddenly it's going to be 9 o'clock tonight, and then I'm going to collapse into bed. I'm going to wave to my wife and go to sleep. We live highly unintentional lives. And so what I want people to do, if you're married, get with your partner. If you're not, get with a couple of friends and sit down and look at your calendar, and I want you to wipe the whole thing clean. Wipe it from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed. Wipe it clean. And start with the things I have to do to be whole and well, the things I have to do to eat, to take care of my 4 walls, right? I got to have my home and my transportation. I want you to take care of those things and then begin adding in, what kind of life do I want? And what I've found with parents especially, they realize we don't have to do baseball and travel soccer and horseback riding lessons and violin. This season, we're just going to do one thing, and suddenly thousands of dollars flow back into the house. Not to mention time to go drive Uber for 6 months to pay these loans off, or get a job early in the morning, driving to work an hour earlier and picking people up on the way. Whatever you got to do, but I want people to look at their calendar, and let's take back our calendars. Let's become more intentional about our lives that we're leading. And then what we're going to find is we're going to find money. We're going to find different ways to do life. We're going to find avenues towards really hard decisions like, hey, I think I need to resign from this job, or I think I need to move, or I think I need to ask for a raise. But it all starts with sitting down and saying, what kind of life do I want to live?
Sounds freeing to me to be able to say, just wipe that calendar free and move forward. As we kind of wrap up here and think, October really is fast approaching. We've turned the calendar to August now. Just what's some advice on how to not get overwhelmed? We've just had this back and forth for so long. You know, send us out here with a message on how to just take that first step forward.
I wish there was a cool, tough guy way to do this. I was born and raised in Texas, and so I always try to find the toughest guy way to do something, but I haven't found it here. Here's the best and easiest solution for entering into hard seasons. I carry a small journal with me. It's right over here in my bag. And when I get overwhelmed or I get scared or something pops into my head like this is the end or if this doesn't happen, I literally write it down and get it out of my body, and I look at it and I demand evidence. Is this true? Is my wife really super mad at me? And if she is, did I cause that? Or are my kids really thinking about what a terrible dad I am? No, my daughter's 7. She just wants to get to the next day. So I write these things down. So as you enter into this season and you start to get scared about, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, write that down. I'm scared about paying my bills. And then demand evidence. Do I have enough money? What do I need to do to get there? And it takes it out of our bodies in this cyclone inside of us, these anxiety alarms, and it puts it out on paper where we can then create a plan to move forward.
And then we'll have that freedom from that debt, which sounds so great right now. John, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Come back anytime to 12 News in the very hot Phoenix.
Thank you.